now, here's your host, Brian Tracy.
I felt like sort of like, you know, they hit it in the home run or something.
It was like a plane coming in here.
Anyway, welcome everybody to the show. It's great to have you with us. Let's say hi to the band over there. We just saw them briefly, but we have to officially say hi to you guys. You're in a good mood tonight, right?
Oh, beautiful.
We've got one heck of a show, and we're going to get started right away with the end. Well, my first guest is a songwriter, singer, and actor who currently is one of the top 5 recording artists in history. Recently, he recorded a live 28-song CD called The Wildlife Concert, and that includes many of his most popular hits. Here is John Denver, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, John. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, you seem a little low-key today.
Well, I've done 3 concerts in the last 4 days. I've been doing all kind of stuff for the last 10 days, traveling around, and this morning I'm feeling it. This evening, this morning, what?
This evening. Does it get to you, though, after a while? Do you almost say, well, all right, I've done enough, I have to take a lot of time off or a little bit of time off?
It's the traveling that's the hardest, the traveling and then some of the things they add to the concerts. You know, I love to sing for people and singing and doing a show, and I feel like I'm learning how to sing, and so I'm really enjoying that. We had a great concert last night, but all of the other stuff that goes along with that sometimes gets very, very...
Now, what did you mean? You feel like you're learning how to sing? I mean, you've been singing your entire life.
Well, but I listen to the old songs, and gee, some of them sound like my voice is almost expressionless compared to what I've learned how to do with my voice. And I've learned that both from listening to other people, from looking a little deeper inside myself, and really working with this gift that I was given.
Who do you listen to?
Placido Domingo. I listen to Jennifer Warnes. I think I learned more about singing from her than just about from anybody. She's my favorite girl singer.
You know, as I said in the introduction, you are one of the top 5 selling artists in the history of the industry.
They say that. I think I might be in the top 10 or 20, but I don't think I'm the top 5.
Yeah. Well, even in the top 20. Do you ever look back at your career and say, wow, how did this ever happen?
Well, I haven't had much of a chance to think about it in that respect. I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people in the world, and I've had the good fortune to make friends all over the world through my music, and so I'm a pretty lucky guy.
This new album that you just did, it's called
The Wildlife
Concert here. Now, this is how many different songs?
There are about 29 or 30 songs on there.
And some of them are old and some of them are new.
That's right.
But they're all done, re-recorded live, is that correct?
The first live recording I've done since An Evening with John Denver back in Never.
Now, some of the songs have never been recorded live, correct? Some of the older ones, too?
The vast majority of these, I think, have not been recorded live ever before. And certainly the new ones. And all of the old ones, you know, I think people will hear the way I'm singing now. And that's one of the things that I'm so excited about, having this opportunity to have a new album out, both for people to hear and comparatively, in a sense, to hear the new songs with the old and to hear the way I'm singing today.
Yeah, you know, people have said that singers, their voices get better as they get older.
Well, you mature, you know, and I think that goes on for a while if you take care of yourself. This is one of the things that you can do, you know, for a long, long time. It's not quite like being an athlete, but it's something that, you know, you have to stay in shape for physically, and you really have to keep this in shape. Now, this is the tenderest part of my body. And anytime if I get a cold or something's going on in my throat, God, it scares me.
Yeah. So you obviously take good care of that. I noticed you were drinking tea and you try to talk softly.
Well, I'm talking a little softly because I'm older than I used to be, and I can't do 3 concerts in a row and get started with this thing here, you know, right away.
Other than your voice, how has age affected you in your performance?
Oh, I think in my songwriting, you know, as you grow older, you're looking more deeply into yourself. You peel off layers and see things that you didn't see before, and all of that, I think, comes out in your music. And I think it comes out both in the new songs that you're writing, and sometimes you find something new in one of the older songs that you've written that touches you in a different way. And hopefully all of that you can express, you know, when you perform.
Well, how about all of the causes that you that you represent, the environmental causes, of course, world peace and all of that?
Well, when I was growing up, even before my guitar, I was very, very shy, and my first best friend was the desert in Arizona, and that was always, it seems like, my best friend, the out of doors, wherever I lived. And so when I began trying to express myself musically, then I used images from nature. And with that sensitivity, you see things that are going on, you see things that we're doing that have, and the effect that it has on the world around us. And I've been given the opportunity to look at those things, to sometimes speak about them, to be a voice, in a sense, for the things that I care very deeply about.
How do you feel about the people that object to people like yourself who use your celebrity to carry some banner for some cause, rather than being an artist in the truest sense of the word?
I think that's being an artist in the truest sense of the word. I think that it's our responsibility as artists, especially as artists, but I think it's our responsibility, every single one of us as human beings, to stand up for what you believe in, to speak out, and to make sure that what's going on in your world is a reflection of who and what you want to be as a human being, as a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. And especially the artists, especially the artists. Why should we have... should we put a muzzle on ourselves because we're celebrities? Not in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But to use your celebrity, to be out in the public eye, do you ever do it while you're in concert, other than in your songs? Do you ever actually, like, let me give you an example. There are people that, like Phil Donahue, who will come out before he does his show, and he'll actually make a political speech before he does his show. Do you ever do that?
Well, the thing you notice there is that he does it for his studio audience before he does his show. I haven't seen him do that on TV.
Right.
And I think it's my job to remember that when I'm doing a concert, I'm being paid to perform for people, to entertain people. And hopefully what I have to say comes through the music without me having to hit somebody over the head with it. Mm-hmm. And so it's very, very important, I think, to be aware of that sensitive line. And you know, I think it comes through in the music, and I think, you know, what happens is whenever I do concerts or I have a new record out, I have the chance to do interviews like this or to be in the press, and that's where people ask me, and I can speak more about the things that I really care for.
Yeah, do you like this process? Do you like being interviewed?
I enjoy interviews, yeah.
You do?
Yeah. It's always, you know, it makes you think. And there are some interviews that get pretty silly, and you wonder why you're doing that when you've answered the same silly question 15 times in a day. But most often in the things that I have the chance to do now, you know, it's people are not asking me about what my favorite color is or what was my first date like. They're asking me what's going on with the Windstar Foundation. What is the Choices for the Future Symposium about? What's going on with the Hunger Project? What are you doing in China? How was it to be in Vietnam last year? And these are exciting things to talk about.
Well, good. We're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to take a short break, okay? And we'll be right back with John Denver. Stay with us.
You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain.
We are back with John Denver, and just before we went to break, you mentioned the Windstar Foundation, which was one of the things on my list that I wanted to talk about, not just because you brought it up.
I'm so glad.
But I did want to talk about it because it's very near and dear to your heart. Tell me about it.
Well, Windstar was started in 1976 with a friend of mine, Tom Crum, and it was especially to have a vehicle, in a sense, to work on these things that have to do with the environment, and most especially to be hopefully a catalyst for people to get involved, for people to make conscious choices about what's going on in the world in which they live, and especially around issues that have to do with the environment.
Yeah, you have, also there was a thing you were trying to do where you get people to plant trees.
Well, Planet 2000 was started a couple of years ago by the son of my manager, Hal Thaw, and his idea, born out of being involved in my life, in a sense, on the periphery, and then going to the Windstar symposiums and trying to figure out what can I do. And he had this idea of on one hand, for every thing that we say, you know, in concerts you have concessions, T-shirts, jackets, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So for
make a lot of money by doing that.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
So all of that money goes to Planet 2000. It used to go to the Windstar Foundation. And now, for along with that, for every item that we sell, we plant a tree. And we also give people the opportunity to plant trees, to buy seedlings, and to plant trees that are indigenous to the area in which they live. And over the last couple of years, we've planted over a couple 100,000 trees in our first 2 years of existence, and we hope to plant 1 million in the United States before the end of this decade.
And it's terrific.
That
really
is good,
terrific.
Isn't it?
It is.
And you have projects, you know, for a while, and this may still be going on. Chrysler Jeep in California was planting a tree for every Jeep they sold with Planet 2000. We've had communities come forward. One lady planted 4,000 trees in her community in Carolina, I think. Another situation like that down around San Diego. So good things.
I want to change the subject a little bit. Not too long ago, you wrote your autobiography. And you've gotten all kinds of mixed responses from that. And
I'll bet.
there are a lot of things in the autobiography that I think shocked people and surprised them. You're pretty honest about your marriages and the breakup of your marriage. There's an image in one of them that you paint of a John Denver that nobody would ever believe existed, where you went into your house with a chainsaw and started tearing apart the furniture.
Well, there was a circumstance in the breakup of the marriage with Annie where she did some things to our house without talking to me about it. When we split up, I left home. I left the home for her. I built it for her and the kids, I thought. But she cut down a whole bunch of trees which were as much a part of that house to me as the walls and windows. They certainly were when I designed the house. And I felt awfully bad about that. And things weren't going so well between us at the time. And so I went back to cut up a few things so that she would know that it was, you know, I still felt a part of that home. And it's not necessarily the best decision I ever made. I'm glad I didn't hurt anybody. And I felt bad about the beautiful furniture that I carved up.
Let's talk about something that you really do love, because I found this fascinating. You love flying airplanes. You have your own Learjet.
Yes.
But even more importantly, that is you want to go into outer space.
Yeah.
You want to be on a shuttle.
Well, I've been enamored with space since the first time I really lay on my back and looked up at the stars and saw them for what they were and somehow felt connected to that. And I've been a very, very strong supporter, a follower of our space program for all of its years. I remember the Echo 1 satellite and looking in the sky to try and see that passing over the United States. And I did want to fly. I had specific reasons about that. Aside from the fact that I'd give my right arm just to fly in space, I think that there's a much bigger job to do there. And what that has to do with is NASA doesn't have a quarter of the budget that they would like to have to do the things that they're capable of doing. And that budget is being cut back. And they don't have that kind of economic support because they really don't have the support of the American government, in my opinion. And they don't have the support and understanding of the American people. The people have not connected to what we're doing there and how it pays off in our lives.
And you think you can help?
I think that they need, you know, a real good promotion campaign, something to do, like sending man to the moon. We got pretty excited about that first
Denver
time.
Would be probably a pretty good promotion.
I think sending somebody who's known all over the world and who can go on and talk about it from a little bit different perspective than the astronauts do, who aren't trained to do this kind of stuff, be in interviews like this, but who can talk about that and perhaps connect it to people would be the most valuable thing that could happen to the space program. And I volunteered.
But didn't the Soviet Union actually offer to send you up?
Well, so I've talked about the space program in this way everywhere I've gone around the world, and the Soviets did extend an invitation to me to fly to the Mir space station, and I actually had a flight scheduled December the 18th back in about 1985.
But it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. My wife, Cassandra, got pregnant, which was a real miracle to us. And I chose to stay home with her during that pregnancy and to be there when the baby was born resin be off trying to circle the planet and stuff like that.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you up in a space shuttle at some point in time.
Are you trying to get rid of me, Brian?
No, I have to. They're giving me the cue. I got to go. And also, John Denver, the Wildlife Concert. It's terrific, and thank you very much for coming. We
Brian, thank
enjoyed
you
meeting
for having me.
Okay, we're going to be back with more in just a minute. Stay with us.